but Rex seems to have grown tired of waiting. Your dog? No, sir. I haven't seen it. Shall I go look? No, never mind. You come back. Rex and I understand each other. He has his little moods like me. If you were going for a walk, then no, doesn't matter. I can go anytime. You don't live in this country, do you? No, sir. I live in New York. I wish I did. It's beautiful here, isn't it? It's very beautiful to me. I love it. You may have come a long road this morning. Let's sit down. Thank you. I'm not interfering with anything, am I? Bless your heart, no, indeed. What is there to interfere with? All we have is life, and this is about it. I like to sit under these trees. It makes me think of the Old Testament. That's interesting. How? Well, I may be wrong, but whenever I think of the Old Testament, I see an old man under a tree, a man who has lived it through, and found something real about it. And he sits there calm and strong, something like the tree himself. And every once in a while, somebody comes by, a little boy, and the boy talks all about himself, just as you'd imagine we had a conversation with our fathers, if they weren't so busy, or our teachers, who, if they didn't depend only on their books, could give us answers, or if our ministers, if we thought they understood what we were saying. And the old man doesn't say much, but the boy goes away stronger, happier. Yes, I understand the Old Testament. They did get a hold of things, didn't they? But what I don't understand is how nowadays people seem to have grown competent, and then those men were in those days. And so many wonderful things, skyscrapers, aeroplanes, and yet we aren't half as wonderful as they were in the Old Testament, with their jugs and wooden plows. We won't grow so big as things we do with those old fellows who are so much bigger. We smile at them. But if someday one of our machines fell over us, then what would we do? I wonder. I went through a big factory last week. One of my friend's father is the manager, and all he could think was, what would a fellow who didn't like it, who didn't fit in? Nowadays, most everybody seems to competing about their factories or businesses or something like that, and they've got a hold of everything. So the fellow's got to do the same thing. Well, where is he? That's the first question, certainly. Where is he? But where is he if he does do the same thing, or he isn't? Why, he's with the rest. And they don't ask that question. I'm afraid they don't. It would be interesting if they did begin to ask it, wouldn't it? Yes, it would. I'd like to be there when someone I know asks themselves that question. But they never will. Why should they? Don't you mean, how can they? Yes, of course. They don't ask the question because the big thing that they are doing seems to have the answer before that. But it isn't. Not compared to the Old Testament. We have to ask ourselves. And that's why I came here today. Oh. You want to know where they are, their power? Or where they will be without it? Where I will be. I hate it, but what else is there to do today? On the contrary. Well, everybody I know is a part of it. So how could they tell me something that is outside of it? I've been wondering about that for a year. Before then, I was just a boy, the world seemed full of everything. But now it seems it has only that one thing. That or nothing. Then one day I saw a photograph somebody had cut from the Sunday paper. And I thought to myself, there's a man who seems outside, entirely outside, and yet he has something. It wasn't all or nothing for him. And I wondered who it was. Then I found your book with the same picture in it. You bet I read it right off. It was the first time I had ever felt in my life a power as great as those skyscrapers and railroads, and yet apart from them, outside of all of them, like the Old Testament, like gold. You liked that. It was more than that. How can a fellow like the ocean or a snowstorm? Is that what you thought they were like? Why, they went off like a 14-inch gun. Not a whine of life in them, not a single regret for anything. They were wonderful. They seemed to pick up the mountains and cities and toss them about like they were toys. They made me feel that what I was looking for was able to conquer that I didn't like. I said to myself, it doesn't matter. I don't care if he laughs at me. I'll go and ask him where all that power is. And so I came. There's Rex now, over across the road. He's wondering who you are. He knows you're a friend. He's pretending to be jealous. Oh, they're funny, aren't they? But you were speaking about my poems. It's odd that the first criticism should come from someone like you. You must be about the same age that I was when I started writing. When I wanted about anything else to write a book like that, that when such a book seemed the most impossible thing that I could do, like trying to swim across the Atlantic or live forever. It seemed impossible, but I should think it was the most natural thing to do. But for you, like having dinner. That's the most wonderful thing, not the book, but that I should have come to write. But who else could have written it? At your age, I thought anybody could. Anybody and everybody, except myself. Really? Really and truly. You have no idea what a useless misfit I was. But I read somewhere that you had been brilliant as a boy. Astonishingly brilliant. Unfortunately. Yes. That was made it so hard for me. Shall I tell you about it? I wish you would. Brilliance, I'll tell you. That was at least for me. I wrote several things about people that were called brilliant. One, in particular, a little play of a decadent epigram. It was acted by amateurs before an admiring select audience. That was when I was 21. From about 16 on, I had been acutely miserable. Physically miserable. I never knew when I wouldn't actually give in. I felt like a bankrupt living on borrowed money. Of course, it's plain enough now. The revolt was starved nerves. I cared only for my mind. Grew only in that. And the rest of me withered up like a stalk in dry soil. So the flower dropped too in a decadent epigram. But nobody pointed out the truth of it all to me, and I scorned to everybody. Scorned my body thought. People predicted a brilliant future for me. Brilliant future. For me, crying inside. Then I married. I married the girl who had taken the star part in the play. According to the logic of the situation, it was inevitable. Everybody remarked at how inevitable it was. A decorative girl, you know. She wanted to be the wife of a great man. Well, we didn't get along. There was an honest streak of me somewhere which hated deception. I couldn't play the part of a brilliant young poet with any success. She was with me the whole time, writing more and more of the same thing. I didn't want to. The difference between the great man I was supposed to be and the sick child who I really was began to torture. I knew I oughtn't to go any further if I wanted to do anything real. But it wasn't. Then, one night, we had an artistic dinner. My wife had gotten a hold of a famous English poet and through him, a popular publisher. I drank champagne before the dinner so as to be brilliant. I was. And before I realized it, Nora had secured a promise from the publisher to bring out a book of plays. I remember she said it was practically finished. But it wasn't. Only the one, and I hated that. But I sat down consciously to write down the book that she, and apparently all of the world counted, expected me to write. I couldn't write it. Not a blessed word. Something inside me refused to work. And there I was, in the month, although she began to ask about it. Nora thought I had ought to turn them out while she waited. I walked up and down the path one afternoon wondering what to tell her. And when I realized that either she would never understand or would despise me, I turned desperate. I wrote her a note full of phrases about incompatibility, unapproachable ideals, the soul's need for freedom, things she would understand and would wear a heroic attitude about, and fled. I came here. Of course, but did she follow you? Did they follow you? Not a bit. Nora preferred her lonely heroism. In a few months, I was quite forgotten. That was one of the helpful things I had learned. Well, I was a wreck. When I came here, I only wanted to lie down under the tree. And there it was, with that yellow tree, my salvation came. My salvation. Hunger. That was my salvation. Simple, elemental, unescapable appetite. You see, I had no servant, not one at all. So I had to get up and work, prepare my food. It was very strange compared with this life. Life had been like living in a locked box. someone to do everything for me except think, and consequently I thought too much. But here, the very fact of life was brought home to me. I spent weeks working about the house and the grounds on the common nest. By the time winter came on the place I was fit to live in, I was enjoying life. All the brilliance had faded away. I was a simple blade of grass. For a year, it was a year now. For a year I did not write. I had the courage to wait for the real thing. Nobody pestering me to be a genius. Someday, you may get to read my first book. People said I had discovered the virtue of humility. I had. I will read it. And how much more will it mean to me now? I suppose you know the theory about vibrations. Now, if a little push is given to a bridge and repeated often enough at the right intervals, the bridge will fall. Yes. Well, that's the whole secret of what you've been looking for. What you found in my poems. I don't understand. A man's life is a rhythm. Eating, sleeping, working, playing, loving, thinking. Everything. And when we live so that each activity comes at the right interval, we gain power. When one interrupts the other, we lose. Weakness is merely the thrust of one impulse against another instead of their combined thrust against the world. When I came here feeling like a criminal, I was obeying one right instinct to alter of emotions, like the faintest of heartbeats in a sick body. I listened to that. I learned of physical hunger, then sleep, and so on. Incredible how stupid I was about the art, the elemental art of living. I had to begin all over from the beginning as no one ever lived before.
Another round of applause. Thank you, Appu, for that speech. I wish I could talk like you someday. Our third speaker just arrived, so we will be proceeding with our table topic session. One Thursday, after our meeting, when all of us were standing down, I saw all the youngsters of our club, like Toastmaster D.K. Ramesh, Vinod, Anand Bahirath, Toastmaster Prem, they all were standing around this person. Sorry. He's old. He's old. They're all standing around this person and talking something so serious, and it got me curious. And just then, our Miss Fitness, Sheetal too, joined the crowd. And then I realized it was about health, green food, weight management, and all those things. So this person, who is going to be the table topic master for today's meeting, is doing his bit to our club by motivating all these kiddos of our club to lose an inch or two and making them more adorable. Join me in welcoming the wellness coach Murthy as a table topic master.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you, Manjushri. I know since a very young age where my son had lost him when they were all studying in school, you remember right? So since then I know, since 45 years. Today my topic is table topic master. This is a very interesting topic where the Toastmaster is educating the new members as well as the guests to come here and start talking. Let's say called as an impromptu speech. Most of the people are fear to talk. Fear to talk to the spouse, the children, or sometimes the children what they ask, they will not be knowing how to answer. So this is one topic where in a platform where we can learn to talk and face people. Good evening once again.
Good evening.
Improv speech is about talking at a given time. It's about 1 to 2 minutes. And our time speaker will be showing a card. So please be watching her also so that you will not miss out the time, and because time is pressing today. So at about the moment at 1 minute she will be showing the green, at 1.5 minutes it will be orange and then the red, so that it will be assigned to stop. Yeah, my first question, rather than before that, I would say that ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. That means for things to change, you need to change. For things to be better, I need to be better. So the one small change what we do to the government is what the government will change. It's not we blame the government. Thank you. Now, life is very simple. We need to carry on in a short span of time where I have learned a lot of things. So whatever I do is with really good practical things. My first topic of the day is very simple. According to you, what is meant by life and the purpose of living? I repeat, according to you, what is meant by life and the purpose of living? 30 seconds, I would like to see one of the lights and going on. Okay, I would like to call the youngest of our life person, Mr. Vinod, on stage.
You said youngest, I was looking around.
Thank you.
Mr. Table Topics Master and fellow Toastmasters, I have thought about that in all my young life. What is the purpose of life? And having gone through a lot of turmoils in 72 years, I personally believe that life is a venture. You get to live a life only once. For instance, there never was Srinivas before, there never will be another Srinivas. There's just one Srinivas. What he was yesterday is not the same person today, and will not be the same person tomorrow. So life is basically an experiment. It's like God looked at him and said, Srinivas, take this body of a man, go down to earth and experience life. And when I think in those terms, that nothing is set in stone, that everything is an experiment, everything is a venture, I look at life totally differently. So I believe also there is a beautiful saying, life is a serious game, life is a serious game not to be played too seriously. Thank you.
This reminds me that every person is unique, special, and also a masterpiece. Yeah, the next topic is very simple. Everybody sleeps. But why is 7 to 8 hours of sleep is essential for human beings? I would like Mr. Bharat to come. is essential for human beings?
Yeah, doctor would have been better for this topic. Yes. After all, this body is a machine. We have to run this the machine. Body requires, just like your car requires the fuel, the car requires also a nice oiling. The car also requires a proper driver. The car also requires proper roads, right? Similarly, the body also requires the necessary fuel. The fuel will be the right diet and the rest basically because the body has to recoup itself, muscles are there to recoup itself. More than anything else, the physical, rather than the physical, the intellect requires rest. That's why I say, there's a nice saying in the Bhagavad. It says that when we sleep actually, then the intelligence goes to rest. That's why you dream of mountains with gold, right? You dream of maybe you had a very wonderful life. So maybe you had like a dream. So all these dreams come because intelligence goes to rest, and that gives the whole body to recoup and come back again. So 7 to 8 hours, maybe 6 hours, 6 to 7 hours, maybe better. I think that's, and for a child maybe 10 hours will be very essential. Maybe just born maybe 20 hours. Sleep is definitely essential. Thank you.
Today our room is full of guests. This session now, the topic is in particular for the guests. The topic is, why do we have 3 square meals a day? Why do we have 3 square meals a day? In the name of the guest, Mr. Narendra, yes, next one.
So I never thought that I will come stand here and I like to open up so soon. But I think it's better soon than later. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving. So why do we need 3 square meals? I mean, it can be a circular meal also. I don't know who he or she must be a really mathematician. Say that we always need a square meal. I mean, English of that apart, we can have square meal, we can have round meal, we can have rectangular. Basically, many days I would always have round meal. Mainly I eat chapatis, so the chapatis which I make will be, most of the time will be round. So, of course we can go with the square meal also. Why do we need 3 square meals a day? There is a saying, it's an old saying, which says, I'll try to say it in Kannada first, because I'm more comfortable in Kannada, and then I'll try to translate that into English. So there is a saying that if a person eats one time, then he is a yogi. So if a person is likely to eat 3 times a day, then he must be a yogi. Yogi is the one who enjoys his or her life.